wasn't talking to Timbaland, or I think her and Missy fell out as well.
I was in love with him. I said, but I'm not. She's just a baby. I'm old. I said to myself, I'm just gonna beat her.
Today you have the shit happens. Just make sure the plane you on is bigger than you carry your baggage.
Jay-Z is a prophet. I don't know if y'all read the Bible, or any scholars of the Bible.
So Ginuwine is finally talking about Aaliyah's tragic passing in a way that has people looking at certain men in the industry sideways. For years, Ginuwine stayed pretty quiet about what really went down behind the scenes. We all knew he and Aaliyah were close, but there was always this tension nobody fully explained. And now Ginuwine is speaking on how things changed, how the industry moved, and how Aaliyah was surrounded by shady figures. And this next part is just speculation, but based on what Ginuwine said, people are now pointing fingers at a few men in Aaliyah's circle, including Timbaland, Jay-Z, and Aaliyah's uncle, Barry Hankerson. Hankerson is actually the one who introduced Aaliyah to R. Kelly when she was just 12. And then later on, Jay-Z and Timbaland both started circling around Aaliyah in a way that made her uncomfortable. In fact, Timbaland literally admitted he felt something for Aaliyah when she was 16, and then he went on to marry his wife just because she reminded him of Aaliyah. And the real tragedy in all this is that Aaliyah really had no real support system. Every single adult in her life failed her completely. She was a teenager surrounded by older, powerful men, executives, producers, gatekeepers, and even her own parents failed to protect her. In fact, Aaliyah's mom was allegedly making weird comments about her and basically encouraging her to use her looks when she was entirely too young. And then the adultification of black girls plays a large role in this as well, because it's not just Aaliyah. In the 90s, singers like Monica, Brandy, and others were pressured to sing about themes well beyond their age and experience. But let's talk about what Ginuwine said, because it sounds like he's pointing at a deeper issue within the music industry and the way the machine is designed to break young artists, mentally, spiritually, and sometimes even physically.
There is a theory that Aaliyah's death in the early 2000s was actually set forth by higher-ups. Known fact that Aaliyah became disillusioned with the music industry, so much so that she was prepared to blow the whistle on higher-ups and executives in the music industry in order to save other young female artists from the pain that she experienced.
We all grew up hearing that Timbaland and Missy Elliott were like Aaliyah's big brother and sister. But what doesn't get talked about enough is that Aaliyah actually stopped speaking to them in the time leading up to her death. And we heard this from Ginuwine himself. He actually admitted that Aaliyah also stopped talking to him, and he hinted there was some tension behind the scenes involving their record label.
We weren't talking when she passed. She wasn't talking. Unfortunately, we weren't talking when she passed. She wasn't talking to Timbaland, or I think her and Missy fell out as well. It's just a business, and when you're young, people can separate you, you know, and you don't know how or why, you just are.
Now here's where the dots start connecting. From what Ginuwine hinted at, and if you really look at the timeline, this shift seems tied to Aaliyah's uncle, Barry Hankerson. Ginuwine was signed to Hankerson's label, Blackground Records, and Hankerson was also deeply involved in Timbaland and Missy's early careers. But here's where it gets darker. According to multiple reliable accounts, Barry Hankerson introduced Aaliyah to R. Kelly when she was only around 12 years old. At the time, Kelly was working with Hankerson as one of his artists, and he immediately positioned himself as Aaliyah's mentor and went on to write her first album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, which was recorded when Aaliyah was just 14.
Manager, who's her uncle, told me to go up to Detroit and hear her sing. Once I got up to Detroit, I didn't have to hear her sing because she was growing. I knew she had it. As soon as she started singing, that verified it. And from there, we became here. And everything is all good. Once I got up to Detroit, I didn't have to hear her sing because she was glowing. I knew she had it. As soon as she started singing, that verified it. And from there, we became here. And everything is all good.
Now fast forward to R. Kelly's criminal trial in 2021, and Kelly's former backup dancer Angela testified that Kelly started mistreating Aaliyah when she was not even 18. Angela also told the jurors that Kelly controlled Aaliyah and other young backup dancers and never allowed them to leave the hotel without him while they were touring. She also recalled how one time during a stop in Washington, D.C., she, Aaliyah, and a group of other girls made a trip to 7-Eleven, and when they returned, Kelly demanded they sleep with him as punishment for going going out without his permission. Robert told all of us we would have to put out, Angela said, also adding that Kelly would often tell Aaliyah and other girls that sleeping with him was a form of paying their dues. But that's not all. Vibe magazine also later obtained the fake ID that R. Kelly used to illegally marry Aaliyah when she was 15, and other witnesses alleged that Kelly did this because he believed Aaliyah was pregnant and feared he could be prosecuted. Aaliyah's former boyfriend, Dame Dash, later said that if people would have protected Aaliyah, so many other girls wouldn't have gotten touched. But sadly, Aaliyah had no one to protect her, and her parents were allegedly paid off by R. Kelly to stay silent about the illegal marriage. According to the surviving R. Kelly documentary, Aaliyah's parents made a deal with Kelly where he promised them the rights to his first 3 albums, and they agreed not to take any legal action. They also reportedly signed an NDA, which was later uncovered by journalist Jim DeRogatis. And DeRogatis described the document as harrowing because it laid out in detail just how much Aaliyah suffered at R. Kelly's hands. And then on top of her own family failing her, Aaliyah was also surrounded by all those older industry men like Jay-Z and Timbaland, who both allegedly became obsessed with her to a disturbing degree. Dame Dash once said that Jay-Z was trying harder than anyone else to get with Aaliyah. And as for Timbaland, he himself admitted he became infatuated with Aaliyah when she was just 16, and he later went on to marry his wife, Monique Idlet, because he thought she looked like Aaliyah.
I'm gonna give up a little secret. I was in love with her. I said, but I'm not, she's just a baby. I'm old. I said to myself, I'm just gonna be her brother. Oh man, I was fighting a big war. But I love Aaliyah.
Tim felt a different kind of magic when he spotted a young marketing exec at an industry event in Jamaica.
When I first saw her, I said, that's a girl I'm gonna marry because she reminded me of Aaliyah.
She did resemble Aaliyah the way her hairstyle was, and it really attracted him.
I thought I saw a ghost.
Now, keep in mind that based on multiple industry sources, both Jay-Z and Timbaland knew what R. Kelly had done to Aaliyah and the trauma she went through, and they still went on to pursue her. Jay-Z actually made a whole album with R. Kelly, Best of Both Worlds, and they started recording this just months after Aaliyah's death. But that's not all. There's this old interview where Nas called into Wendy Williams' radio show and alleged that Jay-Z not only knew what R. Kelly was doing with young women, but may have been involved himself.
Valentino giving me style. That's not what I'm going to do. Yeah, I could have put up movies, but I could have showed the R. Kelly video that everybody's talking about, made fun of it, and said, yeah, Jay's hanging out. When Jay and them was in there doing Best of Both Worlds, you can't tell me Jay didn't see a 14-year-old girl come in the studio and sit on R. Kelly's lap. No. You can't tell me, you won't sit here and tell me that they're working on that album, that he ain't never seen a 14-year-old girl come in the vicinity.
My belief is that anybody who's worked with him and been in his sight.
And I pray for him. But if I sit there and did an album about women with him, I'm definitely maybe indulging. He had to be indulgent support.
As for Timbaland, after Aaliyah passed, he pushed this narrative that he was like her protective big brother. But looking back, when all those horrible things were happening around her, there's no public record of Timbaland stepping in or calling anything out. In fact, Timbaland ended up closely aligned with Jay-Z and praising him heavily in interviews. He even went as far as calling Jay-Z a prophet who was sent by God himself.
Jay-Z is a prophet. I don't know if y'all read the Bible, of any scholars of the Bible. God sent him. He raised me in the music business. He was so prolific, so wise beyond his age, that I was just amazed.
Someone's talent and influence is one thing, but comparing Jay-Z to Moses, you don't even have to be religious to see how messed up that is. And let's not forget that for years, fans have been speculating that Jay-Z may have had some involvement in Aaliyah's death. Some even believe that he mocked her passing on the song Glory, which includes a lyric, just make sure the plane you're on is bigger than your carry-on baggage.
So there you have it, shit happens. Just make sure the plane you on is bigger than your carry-on baggage.
Now, the official narrative of why Aaliyah's plane crashed is that it was supposedly overloaded. But many people never believed that explanation, especially after it came out that Aaliyah was allegedly sedated and carried on that plane unconscious. So looking back at everything Aaliyah went through, it really feels like she had no one to protect her when she was young and vulnerable. And that really flips the whole industry family story on its head. And when you line it up, it's heartbreaking what she went through. She was pushed into the industry incredibly young. Her career was being managed managed by her uncle, who then passed her to R. Kelly, a situation that later exploded into one of the most disturbing scandals in music history. Meanwhile, her own parents allegedly took money from R. Kelly in exchange for their silence. And then all those other men in the industry who positioned themselves as Aaliyah's big brothers, mentors, protectors. But looking back, most of them had ulterior motives.